It having reached the hour of 5:30, I am calling the March 11th, 2025 Modesto City Council meeting to order and ask the city clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Here.
Councilmember Ricky.
Here.
Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Wright.
Here.
Councilmembers Gutierrez here. And Mayor Zwalin.
Here. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation from Bill Canoyer, Redeemer Church. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry.
Good evening. Let's pray. Father, I'm reminded of just the disruption and chaos that we feel on a daily basis these last months and upendedness. We thank you that you're just in control. You're able to hold on to us in this time. And so I pray, Father, for our city council and mayor. Lord, would you give them wisdom as they manage the affairs of our city? We pray that this place that you've given us to live in would be a place that we could be safe, that we could grow old together and enjoy raising our kids and our grandkids and families, Lord, here. I pray, Father, for those who fight crime in our streets, Lord. We pray, Father, for their safety and for their ability to come home each and every night safely. And we thank you for giving us such a community that is so generous, so giving, that you're making a mark for us around this nation of how generous we are. And we're grateful for that. And so keep us at our task, keep us focused. And we pray in your good name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Right. Does the city clerk have any announcements?
Yes, Mayor. Just a reminder, public comment is 3 minutes, and there are blue speaker cards at the entrance of the chambers.
Right. Sorry, just getting things arranged here. Do any of the council members have any conflicts of interest? I do not see any. Will the city attorney report out on closed session, please?
Yes, Mayor. The council held closed session today to discuss an item related to property negotiations. No reportable action was taken.
All right. Next on the agenda is public comment. As noted on the agenda, public comment will only be in person. Zoom will still be available for viewing and wordly translation. Thank you all for being here tonight. The City of Modesto Council meetings are a place where everyone is encouraged to listen, share views, and participate in the decision-making process that benefits our community. Your engagement is valuable, and it helps our council and city staff collaborate on finding solutions that enhance the quality of life for the residents of Modesto. To be fair and equitable, every individual has the right to speak at this council meeting. However, it is imperative that we foster and maintain a respectful environment for the well-being and safety of everyone present at these proceedings. It is the mayor's responsibility to preserve strict order and decorum at all council meetings. Pursuant to the Charter of the City of Modesto, Article 6, the Mayor, Section 601, Powers and Duties of Mayor, the mayor shall have the authority to preserve order at all council meetings and to remove or cause the removal of any person from any meeting of the council for disorderly conduct, to enforce the rules of the council, and to determine the order of business under the rules of the council. Accordingly, the city council meeting decorum rules are as follows. Please be respectful of all presenters, council members, staff, and members of the public. Please refrain from clapping other than following a presentation. All speakers are encouraged to state their name and city of residence. All questions must be directed to the mayor. Please do not block the view of others by holding signs up during council meetings. Time limits for public comments is 3 minutes, but may be limited at the discretion of the mayor to manage the business of the council. Speaking over others or interrupting while others have the floor is not permitted. Cell phones should be turned off or shall be set to vibrate during the meetings. Thank you for your patience and participation as we work together to address the issues impacting the community. Maintaining order and decorum during the city council meeting is crucial in the effective governance of Modesto and ensuring the council's decisions are reflective of the community's priorities. Anyone disrupting the council meeting may be asked to leave. Does anyone wish to speak on any item under public comment? This is for items not on the council agenda, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Anyone wishing to address the city council is asked to follow the rules of decorum. The rules are posted at the entrance of the chambers. I have several blue cards, and I will state the names in the order that they were presented to me. Betty Santos.
Good evening, Mayor and the City Council. I am Betty Santos, a long life resident here of Modesto, California. The City Clerk had placed a Cars and Coffee flyer that you have in front of you at this time. And I wanted to invite you to this event that I had collaborated with the Modesto Police Department and the Starbucks here in our community. At this time, I am working on with a new restaurant that's actually the new store that's opened up on Pelondel and Cis de la Verlarta. I'm still having trouble pronouncing that, and I've been in communication with them today. They're real excited about being part of this as well, and I encourage them that this Cars and Coffee event, I came up with an idea, and of course, I shared it with my good friend Jerry Thompson, and he supported me on this. And then I had to reach out to 4 of the women in our car community to say, hey, let's come together as women and do this. And so they were very supportive of me as well. So the next step was I presented this to Vice Chief Ivan Valencia, and he supported me on this. And then after that, we just took off from there. Then he transitioned me into meeting with Alfonso Morales of the Crime Prevention Department. And so he created this flyer, and then we had many conversations going back and forth, information that he needed to help present this. And so I'm personally inviting you to come to this family-friendly event. It's open to classic cars, hot rods, lowriders, car clubs, solo riders as well. And I know a couple of members have classic cars, like Eric. I know you have a classic car, and then Jeremiah, I know you have one as well. So I'm really excited about this. And if any of the council members or mayor, you want to come down, have coffee, that's going to be provided. I'm working on getting some donations for donuts as well, and then also the pastries from the new store that's opened up. Okay. All right. So that's my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next, I have Loretta Carhart.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to say I'm going to try my darndest to read this. I wish help from some volunteer help from attorneys and journalists who will work together and study lots of people who have illnesses like I do, and lots of us are misunderstood by others and seem there's no study on this. In the late 50s, I myself worked for Morse Code and teletype for U.S. government. And there is an illness of some kind that to this day no one understands. In the late 50s, I worked Pac Bell as a telephone operator. And while working, I was able to work for at least 4 or 5 hours doing telephone calls correctly and not remember one bit of it, none whatsoever. This is something apparently doctors or no one understands, or else if they do, they won't talk about it and tell about it. Then in the late 60s, my father Cletus Terry, was shot right here in town. He was killed with a gun. When my son and I walked into the room, we found Dad dead. The gun is at the end of the bed. Dad's hands are back of his head. There's blood all over the place. Police put it down. It was suicide. This definitely is not suicide. Right afterwards, my husband let the kids and I, and my husband, in my own version, was just like I had been because of narcotics and medicine. He was doped up, and I don't care what anyone says. There is medicine that will cause some type of amnesia. And if we don't get someone to start studying this, and now I've found 3 letters on it, and what they are, what this illness is, I do not know. But you guys can definitely study this, and please try and find other people who's got it.
Thank you. Next is Danielle Morgart.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council members. My name is Danielle Morgart from the Office of Assemblyman Juana Alanis to provide a legislative update. So this month is going to be a very busy month when it comes to legislation up in Sacramento. The Assemblyman does have 5 bills being heard in committees. We did have day 1 today with AB 387, which is the Probation Officers Jury Service. That was heard from the Assembly Committee Judiciary Committee. And then for March 18th, we're looking forward to presenting AB 240, which is the Higher Education Access Study. That will be heard in Assembly Committee Higher Education. And then at the end of the month, March 25th, we have AB 528, AB 603, and AB 767 being heard in Assembly Committee Public Safety. And as always, any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out to our office. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one more blue card, but that's about removing an item from consent, which we will do next. Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak under public comment? Right.
Hi, Mayor and City Council and City Manager, Kevin McClarty, District 1. Well, I guess I need a little education on something. I am a little perplexed. I don't understand the process that you are utilizing here on the council in terms of your legislation, and maybe you can explain it to me. But there seems to be a disconnect between what I see council members advocating on Facebook and other social media, in terms of what they are saying they would like to see done in the city of Modesto, and what I see on the agendas. Because I never see any of the things that they advocate on Facebook on the agenda. And I'm wondering what happens to all those things. I'm not gonna cite specific examples right now, but there are a number of things that I see various members talk about on Facebook. I would like to see this, I would like to see that, I'd like to see this over here, I'd like to do this and that. And then it gets dropped. It's never brought up in a meeting. And the things that are on the consent items seem to be things that are generated by staff, if I'm not mistaken. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but they seem to be staff generated. And I'm wondering, where are the things that are generated by the council members? I don't understand it. I serve on an HOA board, and we have our meetings, in front of the homeowners. We also have our executive meetings, but, we make motions, and the people who are, the homeowners are able to see which board member made that motion and which board member seconded the motion. And then we vote on the motion, but everybody can see which board member initiated that motion. I don't know who initiates anything here. It's my understanding that you have meetings that are private, the public is not invited to them, at which time you set the agenda. I presume that is when various members are proposing various things to be brought forth as consent items. But the problem is that we, as members of the public, we don't know which member brought forth that item. We don't know who it came from. We don't know who seconded it, who seconded the motion. I would like to have a lot more transparency. I would like to know who is proposing what, who seconded the motion, and I'd like to see less of a disconnect between what I see on Facebook and what I see here. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
Go ahead, save you the time. Emerson Drake, 38-year taxpayer. Madam Mayor, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen. I've got two topics tonight. You're going to have to bear with me because we know the time is short. But we're going to do history real quick. In 1995, you ran an election. It was called Measure M. It was to decide whether Modesto wanted to extend its trunk sewer line and water north of Kernan. It was a resounding no, up to 70% on one of them, 69, I think it was, or 68. Said they didn't want that. But now we have the city manager, the mayor, and their good friend Dave Romano looking to put in the Scannell warehouse up there. They took it away from the county that was doing it because it wasn't going through quick enough. Now somebody has to pay for that, and we don't know that it's going to be any good. If you have any questions, look at Jackrabbit up there on Kernan and Tully. It's been sitting empty since they built it. Salida doesn't want it. I'm looking forward to you going down to Salida and trying to sell them a bill of goods, but they're not interested in it. But I don't think you really care. But you should care about what the voters voted for. But it was an advisory. We advised you, say the heck with it. Okay. Here's one that's the real reason I was coming tonight until I ran across that one. It's called the Advisory Committee. Excuse me, the Appointments Committee. I shouldn't try to read without my glasses. You know, they changed rules this time around, and I was shocked. Turns out if you're looking for a second term on the advisory committee, it used to be you came up in front of them, talked to them again, and you had your information out there, details, how many meetings you'd made, anything that was out of the ordinary, even though you already had their city manager's stamp of approval on it. Well, as of the last meeting, they changed that. If you're coming for a second meeting or a second term, you no longer have to appear. Your information as far as how many times you missed is no longer available. Now that's probably because I called them out on it from, I think it was December, when the city manager was pushing forward somebody that missed 40% of the meetings. And since I put that out there, now we're taking that information back away from the public. And more importantly, he's taking that information back from you. You don't know. Please, Councilman Alvarez, look, it's your committee. You don't know how that person performed. You don't know if they even attended committees as long as they've got the city manager's blessing. Now, there's a problem with that. We elected you, even though I don't agree with some of your decisions, to make those decisions. Not just blankly say, well, the city manager likes them, it's okay with me. Not to hide. We just heard about transparency. Not to hide the information that would kick them out or would make them ineligible, missing 40% of the meetings. But you go ahead and you do the rubber stamp anyway. Now, I would expect you to ask the city manager who made the decision, as far as I can tell, on his own, to limit you the information you're going to receive. I would expect you to get that back reinstated, sir. No offense. It's your committee. The information belongs to all of us, you and me and everybody else out here. But he's withholding that. You should wonder why. I apologize for the time. Thank you very much. Any questions?
You're welcome.
I didn't think so. Thank you.
Allison, I was thinking perhaps you could share with Mr. Drake that at the last appointments committee meeting, the attendance for every single participant was listed in complete form. So at another time. Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak for items not on the agenda?
Madam Mayor, City Council, Jerry Thompson. Just like to support what Betty Santos had mentioned about March 29th with her collaboration with Modesto Police Department. But I'd like to add to it. This is something that's contributing to women's empowerment, and I'm very supportive of that because this is something I think needs to be recognized, that women are actually coming forward and working with the police department to bring the community together. And I think this is a very healthy thing. It's also contributing to help the police department with their relationship in the community to show that they're more than just out there enforcing the laws. They're also working to bond and build a bridge with their community, with the people that are out there and the car community itself. Also, I'd like to bring to light, I don't know if anybody had read the article about what the city of Stockton has done about their smoke shops. They are considered and had voted on doing stiffer penalties against the smoke shops by coming down more restrictive of doing away with their business license if they are caught in doing illegal activities, putting them out of business. And maybe Modesto should start considering doing things like that with the police department. They shouldn't be allowed to be in operation if they are caught selling mushrooms, selling to minors. I think there should be much more stiffer acts taken against these businesses and put them out, because they're looking at they actually looked at putting a total moratorium on new businesses and renewing license for a while until they get this under control. And the ones that they do catch, they're not renewing their license, they're completely shutting them down. Also, last Tuesday at the City Council, I didn't bring it to anybody's attention, but some probably do know by now, that a native Modestan had passed away that day at the age of 97. And his name is Gene Winfield, the famous car designer from Modesto. Unfortunately, he had died from cancer. It took him fairly quickly, and he is a native son of Modesto, known worldwide. So he's another great treasure that we've lost, unfortunately, and hopefully Modesto will continue to recognize him. His name is forever minted out in front here on 10th Street Plaza for people to remember who he is, and I'm grateful for that. Maybe someday that we could look at maybe possibly doing something one step further for him, like they did with George Lucas. So thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else on public comment for items not on tonight's agenda? All right. Next on the agenda is consent items. An item may be removed from consent and discussed at the request of a member of the public or council member. Is there anyone on the council that would like a consent item removed for further discussion? Seeing none, is there anyone in the public that would like an item removed from consent for further discussion or comment? And I currently have Emerson Drake has asked for item 2 to be pulled off of consent. And yes, please step forward if there's a consent item that you would like removed for further discussion.
5 and 6.
All right, thank you. Now, I want to clarify, you want those pulled for discussion?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right, will the city clerk please read the consent items?
Item 1, consider approving the minutes for the March 4th, 2025 council meeting. Item 2, remove from consent. Item 3, consider approving the recommended budget adjustments fiscal year 2024-2025 annual operating and CIP budgets. Item 4, consider approving a memorandum of understanding with Archway Commons EAH2 LP, Modesto, California, to reimburse the city $170,000 and a landscape maintenance agreement with the State of California Department of Transportation for construction and maintenance of a secondary emergency access route connecting APN 029-009-037 to 9th Street. Item 5 was removed from consent. Item 6 was removed from consent. Item 7, consider accepting an informational report for the January 2025 accounts payable payment register and void report. Item 8, consider approving the purchase of 4 compact front front-wheel loader with Caterpillar Incorporated under the authorized dealer, Holt of California, Modesto, California, for a total amount not to exceed $591,340.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Wright,
Second.
second by Councilmember Williams. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Alvarez,
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bavaro,
Aye.
Councilmember Williams,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia Brayton. Aye. And Mayor Swallen.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next, we will go back to item 2. Consider approving final adoption of ordinance 3790-C.S, amending section 1-3-8 of the zoning map to rezone 22.6 acres from specific plan to planned development zone P-D 617, property located at the northwest corner of Pellendale Avenue and American Avenue. We will have a staff report by Jessica Hill.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. This is the second reading of the ordinance of the planned development on the corner of Pellendale and American to assist in accommodating a new 189-home single-family development. And this planned development allows for decreased setbacks to accommodate the small lots that we have in many other areas in the city.
All right. Does council have any questions of staff regarding item 2? Seeing none, I will open this up to the public. Any members of the public that would like to come forward regarding item 2?
Emerson Drake again. Got a couple questions. I'd like to know these homes, the approximate size. There was nothing stated in any of that I read anyway. It talks about the size of the homes. You talked about the setback and the land layout, but no estimate of the size of the home. I'd like to know the approximate dollar volume that they're going to try to charge. And thirdly, I saw that HOAs are going to be required. An HOA is going to be required. And I'm just curious why. You know, it almost makes it sound like it's, I don't know, the company homes, because they're supposed to be being built on account of Kaiser. Could I have some answers to some of those, please?
Sure.
And I'd like to reserve the last minute in case there's any follow-ups.
Okay. All right. So I have down, first of all, the size of the homes, and then the dollar value, and then if the HOA is required and why.
Great. So the size of the homes will range from 1,800 square feet to 2,200 square feet. We anticipate the value of the homes will be the market value at the time that the houses are actually ready to sell. And then the HOA is in regards to the streets within the development are not built to city standards, and so they are private streets, and so they'll be required to maintain that and the landscaping within the development.
Thank you.
I guess you could say I'm a little bit concerned that it's a gated community. Are we going to gate everything north of Snyder? Because that's the direction we've been going in. You know, I just don't understand. Plus, 2,200 square feet, these are small lots. They're going to be tall, very tall. And the average price, we're going to beat 500,000, okay? Because the starter homes are going for about 450, 475 right now in nearby communities. And I'm not talking about two-story ones. So it's nice to see us utilize a space, I think that comes almost to 8 homes an acre. You know, it's nice to see us use that, or utilize it, but I'm concerned about substandard city, not up to street code. I don't understand why we would do that. One of the reasons that we're not building cul-de-sacs anymore is because in the past, previous city councils authorized smaller cul-de-sac than you're supposed to be, so no, fire engine does have a hard time turning around in those. So what is the purpose of this? Tiny homes, yes. Let's not even discuss them as far as being starter homes, and that's what we need right now. And look, everybody wants to build the bigger homes, you get a lot of money. They're going to build huge homes. This is going to be truly what we were afraid was going to happen north of Snyder. You know, we're going to have mansions on these tiny little lots. 5-foot setbacks. You know, it's incredible, some of the things I saw in there. It's a step in the right direction, but it's 2 steps back. And then it really does look like they're gonna be a company home, if you will, like the company store, you know, with an HOA. I just wonder how affordable they'll be to the average person. I'm gonna suggest not with that size and an HOA on top of it. But that won't matter. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Any other members of the public regarding item 2? Seeing none, any comments from council members regarding this item? Okay. Seeing none, I will close public comments. And council comments, I need a motion approving final adoption of ordinance 3790 CS, amending section 1(3-8) of the zoning map to rezone 22.6 acres from specific plan to plan development zone PD 617, property located at the northwest corner of Pellendale Avenue and American Avenue. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Scudia-Brayton.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Ricky, and will the clerk please call the roll for item 2?
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Scudia-Brayton.
Aye.
And Mayor Swallen.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next is item 5, consider approving a sub-trunk sewer reimbursement agreement with KB Home North Bay LLC for the construction of the Sonoma Sewer Trunk Extension Phase 3 and 4A project. And we will have a staff report by Toby Wells.
Good evening, Mayor Zwallen, members of the council. So item 5 on the consent this evening is the sewer reimbursement agreement with KB Homes. So KB Homes is building the new subdivision in Tivoli. This is the first subdivision to be constructed north of Sylvan, east of Oakdale. As part of the construction, the city designed the Sonoma Trunk, which will extend the sewer from Sylvan north in to serve most of the Tivoli specific plan area. In order to coordinate better with their construction activity, they've decided to move forward to construct those facilities, and then we will reimburse them. So this agreement is the reimbursement after they complete the improvements.
Right, thank you very much. Questions from council members? Seeing none, I will open item 5 up to the public for comments.
Yes. Well, I don't know how many of you remember Peggy Minsinger, but she was mayor, 35 years ago or so? And maybe longer than that, actually, maybe over 40 or 45 years ago. But anyway, when she was mayor, she put forth a measure that called for a vote of the public, a vote of the citizens of Modesto to extend sewer lines, sewer extensions. They had to be sewer extensions had to be approved by the voters. Now I want to know whatever happened to that. A simple vote of the city council was not sufficient under Peggy Minsinger. And I thought that that law or that measure that was passed while she was mayor did not just apply to her 8 years as mayor. I thought that it applied thereafter. So I need clarification on that because I think that that measure might still be in effect. And maybe the city attorney should research that. I don't know, but I mean, I do specifically remember that the city could not extend beyond its limits without an approval of the voters because that would involve extending the sewer lines, and you could not extend the sewer lines unless the voters approved it. And that was a measure that she put forth in order to protect prime agricultural land so that prime agricultural land would not be encroached upon. And so I don't think that you can do it with just a simple vote of the council. And I'd like some clarification on that. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
This area, the Tivoli specific plan was annexed into the city limits in 2008. So all of this,
Where we can hear you.
council, all of the area being served has already been subject to that vote and has been annexed, so that's not, that issue has been resolved.
All right, thank you. So the response was that land has already been annexed and it's been voted on, so it's already approved. All right. Are there any other members of the public to comment on item 5? Seeing none, any council comments? Council member or Vice Mayor Bavaro?
Thank you, Mayor. Is Kevin referring to Measure M, which is an advisory vote? And I think that was completed. Am I correct?
Yes.
So that was a vote?
Yes.
People, which is an advisory vote, so.
All right. Any other council comments on item 5? Consent item 5. Seeing none, I have a resolution approving a sub-trunk sewer reimbursement agreement with KB Home North Bay LLC for the construction of the Sonoma Sewer Trunk Extension Phase 3 and 4A project and authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute the agreement. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Wright. And will the clerk please call the roll for item 5?
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia Brayton.
Aye.
And Mayor Swellen.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next is consent item 6. Consider approving the plans and specifications for the 2024 restroom replacement project, accepting the bid and awarding a construction contract to Platinum General Engineering LLC of Waterford, California, in the amount not to exceed $574,492. And we will have a staff report by Toby Wells.
Thank you again, Mayor. So this item is seeking to award the contract to install the restrooms. As council may recall, these restrooms were purchased. They are prefabricated. They were purchased approximately a year ago. They've now been completed, and this contract will install those 3 restrooms at Grisada, Mark Twain, and Robertson Road Parks. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions from council members regarding item 6? Seeing none, I will open this item up to the public. Any members of the public can come forward regarding item 6.
Yes. Well, my basic concern is, are these restrooms going to be open to the public? Because so many of the park restrooms are locked. And the rationale is, well, you know, homeless people use them, and so we can't have them open. Well, you know, there are a lot of things that anybody can say about that. I mean, but that's beside the point. My point right here is, why would we spend over $500,000 on restrooms if they're going to be locked and not open? So I want to be sure that these restrooms are really going to be open. And because it's been the modus operandi in Modesto to close the city restrooms and just keep them locked. Case in point is the restrooms at Tuolumne River Regional Park. They're just locked. You can't use them. And I don't know how many other park restrooms are locked, but I presume that it is a number of them. And so, you know, there's no point in spending the money if the restrooms are just going to be locked. You might as well just use that money for something else. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Emerson Drake again, what's $500,000 among friends, right? They're only bathrooms, no big deal. To respond to what you said, Madam Mayor, you were correct. Everybody that was there at the appointments committee, that was looking for a second term, all their information was there. I'll point out there wasn't anybody there looking for a second term. Other than that, you were correct. Advisory votes, you're supposed to take them into consideration, not just ignore them. It's not just a loophole to go through. You're supposed to go, hey, the voters don't want this.
I would like to remind you, we're talking about item 6 currently.
I've got 2 minutes and 23 seconds.
To talk about item 6, please.
Oh, well, if you say so. You know, again, the question gets to me. Actually, I made a phone call earlier today and had a couple of my questions answered, and I really appreciate that. It doesn't always happen anymore. But 3 bathrooms, $500,000. I guess it costs more than it used to use the facilities. Thank you very much for your time.
One question, if somebody could address whether the restrooms were open, because I know that policy has changed. And Toby, I wasn't sure if you wanted to do it or if Jeremy would have that information.
Yeah, I can answer the question. So these are designed so they'll be open during park hours.
All right, thank you. All right, so this is public comment for item 6. Welcome.
Yes, I wish to also ask about those restrooms, like at Reseda Park. That one there is used constantly, or I'll change that, lots of times, by homeless people and also some others that use the bathrooms for washing, bathing, and everything in those. And those bathrooms should be fixed some way or another to where everyone can use it and properly. The way it's sounding, they're just putting money into something and they don't even really know what they're doing.
Right. Any other members of the public that would like to speak regarding item 6? Seeing none, any council members that would like to make comments on this item?
I do have a comment.
All right, Councilmember Ricky.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm really excited about these new restrooms that the city is putting in. One of the issues that we've had with our restrooms, as has been stated by the public tonight, is that there's issues with homeless and the homeless use of these restrooms. The good news is that the city is aware of this issue, and the new restrooms are specifically designed to make it safer for the public to use. And so I'm excited about the design, and I'm excited about the thought that staff put into the design of these new restrooms. It's going to be better for everybody, and that's a good thing for Modesto. Thanks, Mayor.
You're welcome. Any other comments from council members? All right. I have a resolution approving the plans and specifications for the 2024 restroom replacement project, accepting the bid and awarding a construction contract to Platinum General Engineering, LLC of Waterford, California, in the amount of $522,266, authorizing $52,226 for contingency, if needed, for a total payment amount not to exceed $574,492, and authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute the agreement. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Williams, second by Councilmember Scudia-Brayton, and will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Scudia-Brayton.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwollen.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda is council comments and reports. Do any of the council members have any comments and reports at this time? Councilmember Scudia-Brayton.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you hear me? Yeah, there we go. I just wanted to remind the group that we are conducting community workshops for our Parks and Recreation and Neighborhood Master Plan. I attended the first one yesterday. It was very well attended. It was at the Veterans Center on Coffee and Sylvan. And that we had, I'd say, over 36 community members that went there with much desire to provide input to our staff on how they see Modesto parks working today and in the future. And it was a lovely community conversation. And staff took note, literally and figuratively, of the information. And all that information, all that input from the public will serve to inform us moving forward on how to best have parks, maintain parks, and develop parks to the desire and the need of the community. So time well spent. There will be additional workshops, I understand it, 2 more. One will be tomorrow at the Arbor Theater at 1000 L Street, followed by our last one this week, which will be on Thursday at St. Paul's Episcopal Church at 1528 Oakdale Road. I encourage all those that didn't attend yesterday's workshop to attend one of the 2. More information, modestogov.com. Thank you. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. And I also want to thank Councilwoman Escudia Brayton for being there. I was out of town yesterday. However, I will be at the one Wednesday at the Central Plaza in the Arbor Theater. So thank you for being there. Thursday morning at 7 a.m., our wonderful mayor had the opportunity to speak to Catalyst, and did a phenomenal job with a video presentation as well, showing her father and mother and the 3 or 4 other young ladies, or ladies now, that she went to school with, nursing school, and it was quite informational and quite warming to hear the stories of her life. And then Mrs. Fisher, her 3rd grade teacher, she may want to talk about that. If not, no worries. Also, the housing workshop that took place at the Veterans Center on Friday, we did have, he's in the audience today, who was there, Emerson Drake, who made it to that. Thank you for being there, Emerson. And it was a light crowd, but it didn't matter. What mattered is we were able to give the information to the City of Modesto. And we also, on my post that was on Nextdoor, as well as my Facebook post, I did indicate that any comments or questions or concerns that you have concerning workshops or any questions in the City of Modesto, please do reach out to us, modestogov.com, and you can get further information on any of the things that take place in our city. Also, hospice had a dedication of a child or children's remodeled room and a family suite. It was very, very nicely attended. My colleague was there as well and presented, my colleague Councilmember Bavaro presented the certificate from the mayor and the city council. Hospice in our community is a wonderful thing. And I can't say, there's no words to describe the value that they have for those who are losing loved ones at that particular time in their life, and they are there for them. Also, on Saturday morning at 7 a.m., the mayor and I was hoping she was going to do a 10K, but she had to get off to one of her 15 grandchildren's events. But I want to give a nice shout out to Sean Dodge, who does a phenomenal job with the young people, and of course the chief of police allowing that to take place, to have a 10K with the cop. And I did do the 5K. It was a mix. It was a walk and run, but we did complete it. It was 57 minutes, so you can say that's either good or bad, but it happened, and we were there to support our police officers who deserve to have a better day where they're not dealing with so much crime, but they're able to be there with the public and do have so much fun with them. On a sad note, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Collins passed away Saturday afternoon, this past Saturday afternoon. Steve Collins, a longtime member of MJC, faculty member, also was one of the presidents, and then came back again for an internship when they were looking for another one. Steve Collins, so we want to keep his family in our thoughts and our prayers. Finally, Sunday at 2 p.m., Pastor Jimmy Wilson was sworn in to be the pastor. The church, he's the 3rd pastor at Second Baptist Church on California, and he's the 3rd one in 139 years. That's commendable. So I commend the church for selecting him, and I pray and I'm sure he's going to do a wonderful job. That concludes it. Thank you very much, Mayor.
You're welcome. Councilmember Ricky.
Thanks, Mayor. I also want to agree with Councilmember Scudia Brayton here on the Parks Master Plan meetings that are coming up, and Councilmember Williams. These are really important to the future of our park system, and this is a great opportunity for residents to come down and share opinions with the city on what the future of our parks are going to look like. I will also be attending tomorrow night at the Arbor Theater at Center Plaza. This is just so important, and our parks are so important to our city. So I really urge people to please attend one of those meetings. I also want to chat a little bit tonight about Kansas Avenue resurfacing. I know that we've been struggling with that since 2023, but we have some really good news. It looks like we're scheduled to redo Kansas Avenue between Morse to Carpenter, and it's most likely going to be done this summer. So that's exciting, and we're looking forward to those developments. I know that my district is looking forward to it a lot. I'm also excited to keep working on our feral cat issue in our community. I'm going to be meeting with the Stanislaus Animal Services Agency in the next few months to try to tackle the big issues, which is we used to have a very robust spay and neuter program in our county, but unfortunately, right before COVID, we lost funding for it, and so we really don't have any programs in place right now to manage the issue, and that's why it's gotten so bad. So I'm looking forward to trying to put together some solutions with SALSA to encourage pet owners to license their pets. And once we have licensing handled, we should be able to get the vets we need to kind of work on this problem. And finally, it's disappointing that we're catching so many drivers going over 100 miles per hour, especially on like Pellendale. I know that MPD is aggressively enforcing this. But Modesto just has a lot of drivers making a lot of really bad decisions. So I'm looking forward to the council, continuing to work with MPD to improve staffing so that we can dramatically reduce speeding in Modesto. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues about the importance of the Park and Recreation's Neighborhood Master Plan. Tomorrow, again, 6 to 7:30 at the Modesto Center Plaza. There'll be a community workshop that is in District 2 right here downtown. And then on March 15th, the city will be hosting a household hazardous waste collection event at the Senior Citizen Center parking lot, 211 Bodum Street. That's from 8 a.m. to noon. And also I want to highlight a successful spring health fair that the West Modesto Community Collaborative along with the Stanislaus Tobacco Prevention Action Team hosted this Saturday at the King Kennedy Memorial Center. About 70 families were served and immunizations were provided along with other health services and activities for children. And there was a variety of community-based organizations present offering services as well. And I also want to highlight an upcoming event on March 13th, a tech Champions Workshop on Crow's Landing at the Self-Help Federal Credit Union at, I believe it's 900 Crow's Landing Road. The California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce, the mother organization, statewide organization of the Stanislaus Latino Chamber of Commerce here locally will be hosting this Tech Champions Workshop, which is AI integration for small businesses. And businesses who attend can learn strategies for effectively implementing and integrating new technologies into existing businesses, processes to reduce costs and save time. I've been a member of the California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce and the local Latino Chamber of Commerce for the better half of the last decade, and I will be there. I think my counterpart, Rosa Scudia Brayton, will also be there, giving some opening remarks, along with the, I believe, the CEO of the California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce and the CEO of the Stanislaus Latino Chamber of Commerce as well. Again, that's on the 13th on Crow's Landing Road at Self-Help Federal Credit Union from 5:30 to 7. The program will begin at 6. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to share a few things this evening. On March 26th, I believe, the council will be having another workshop, an all-day workshop. The discussion will be about the soccer stadium and smoke shops. So this is actually our third workshop this year. We've had two other. We had council retreat workshops where the council were able to openly discuss our strategies, two-year strategies for quality of health, economic vitality, and governance. And those were very productive workshops that were obviously open to the public. Number two, I'd like to piggyback on Councilmember Williams' comments on hospice. Friends of Hospice will be having a gala sometime in May. I don't remember the date, but that's their major fundraiser. And so hopefully the public will get the word, we're getting the word out, and people in the public will be able to attend this fundraiser. And today I did attend the Modesto Police Officers Association Board of Directors meeting. They know how to put on a spread for lunch. I tell you what, man, if everyone needs to go because there's so much food. It was great. And we were able to, I was able to listen to some of their concerns on what we as a city council need to focus on in making our community safer. And they had some very good points that they brought up. And the date, my wife tells me, is, and Councilman Williams, is May 10th for the Friends of Hospice Gala, May 10th. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. It's really great to hear our council members share about the many activities and initiatives that they're involved with, and also community meetings. So I really appreciate everyone's service to our community. Last evening, I had the honor of presenting about a 1 hour and 10-minute Q&A with Scouts for Scouting America. This was about 50 young people, and they were inquisitive. It was at St. Joseph's Parish Hall, Father O'Hare Hall. I remember the day Father O'Hare came to Modesto, actually, many, many decades ago. But this was an opportunity to speak to the Scouts, answer all their questions to the best of my ability, and it was just a great night to hear their interest in what's happening in our community. I'd like to personally invite everyone to the State of the City address, which will be 1 week from tonight, Tuesday at the Gallo Center for the Arts at 5:30 p.m. And this will be a public meeting. It is open to everyone. So please invite your friends and neighbors if they would like to come. We plan on starting promptly at 5:30 p.m. and it is scheduled to last 45 minutes unless there's other comments that take it longer. But it should be hopefully short, sweet, and give a lot of information, particularly about what is happening with our Measure H funds. Any other comments from council members? Seeing none, does the city manager have any comments and reports? All right, next on the agenda is hearings. Item 9, a hearing to consider approving an application for a conditional use permit and operating agreement by Outfront Media to allow a digital freeway billboard located on the east side of State Highway 99 and south of Evergreen Avenue, located at 2024 West Orangeburg Avenue. We will have a staff report by Jessica Hill.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. So in 2017, our zoning code was amended to allow for digital freeway billboard signs along State Highway 99. And in 2018, we approved our first digital billboard sign at 4000 Salida Boulevard. So digital billboard require both a conditional use permit and an operating agreement, which has to be approved both by Planning Commission and then City Council. So the project before you today is a proposed digital freeway billboard at 2024 West Orangeburg Avenue. The site's currently zoned as mixed-use highway, which allows for commercial uses and multifamily residential uses. The surrounding area is above, so we do have some hotels across the street and to the east, as well as west. Highway 99 is to the west, and then the Dunn Edwards Paint to the south. So this proposed digital freeway board is 60 feet in height. It's 672 square feet, and it's double-sided, and all of those dimensions are in accordance with what's allowed in our municipal code. So as part of the community benefit, there are 4 different categories in which this sign will actually benefit our community. So the first one is being removal of 4 existing billboards in exchange for the development of the new digital freeway billboard. In terms of community messaging, it allows for Amber Alert messaging and emergency disaster communications. The city has the ability to utilize 10% of the time for city-sponsored events and activities, and then 1% of the revenue will come in from the digital billboard itself for community benefit and beautification. So above you today, these are the 4 billboards that are proposed to be removed: 1448 Lone Palm, 9th Street in Coldwell, 573 Crow's Landing, and 547 Crow's Landing Road. So we went ahead and did an analysis of this, and it's consistent with our general plan. We also refer the project out to our local utilities companies, Caltrans, City Engineering, as well as the Fire Department and Parks Planning, and all of the standard conditions have been applied to this project. So there's also one key thing with this. So if any relocation of the digital freeway billboard is required within 5 years due to the Briggsmore Carpenter Interchange project, the city agrees to reimburse Outfront Media up to $100,000 of the actual costs. If the relocation is required more than 5 years for the Briggsmore Carpenter Interchange, Outfront Media will bear the entire cost of relocation of the digital freeway billboard. So this was seen by the Planning Commission on January 27, 2025, and recommended approval by a 5-2 vote. And so there are 2 recommendations for you today, and with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you for your presentation. Does council have any questions of staff? Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. So, Jessica, there is a lighting ordinance for freeway signs of that nature, right? And of course, we're following along those guidelines, and this is much higher than all the rest of the signs as well in our community, correct? And so then the footprint of that, it's 2-sided, correct? So the 2-sided, one is facing which way? Are they both left and north and south?
Correct.
Okay. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
All right. Councilmember Scudia Brayton.
Jessica, in regards to the project on that site, when is that likely to be, or when is it anticipated to be completed?
For the sign itself?
No, the Briggs, what was it that you referred to? I was trying to find it. The roadway.
The Briggsmore Carpenter Interchange. And so
Correct.
we're just in the initial analysis phase. And so I do anticipate it would be, 6 to 8 years before any construction would start.
So that's why I'm a little bit confused. So if it's going to start in 6 to 8 years? So we would be liable to reimburse them for relocation within up to 5 years.
Correct.
From now to 5 years. So there's not going to be anything likely that we have control over that will cause them to relocate.
Correct. And the
Okay.
only thing outlined in the agreement is if relocation is due needed to the Briggsmore Carpenter Interchange within that 5-year period of time, would the city assist with relocation cost up to
And the answer
that
is
amount?
yes. We would assist with relocation. So if there's any disruption or need for relocation, it's going to be in the 2026, 28, or you said within 6 to 8 years. So outside of that time frame.
Yes.
So it's likely that they're for all intent and purposes, going to have to pick up the costs of any issues with relocation?
We do anticipate it will be from the applicant.
Yeah.
If it has to be
Right,
relocated
if
in the
indeed.
future. Yeah.
And they were fine with that?
Yes, we worked with
Okay.
them.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I have two questions. Is the sign for both north and south? I believe Councilmember Williams just asked that. but
Yes, it is. It's double-sided.
So it'll be both, but double-sided. Next question. Next question is the Amber Alert. And if you don't know the answer to this, it's fine, but will it be automatically activated if it's an Amber Alert within our area on that billboard? Or is it something that the owner has to sign up to allow for that to happen? Or do you know how that works?
I do not know, but I
Okay.
do have Outfront Media, who is the applicant here, who may be able to answer that question.
Oh, okay, great. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council. Kevin Johnson with Outfront Media. To answer that question, it's an automatic takeover. So there's an agency that deals with all of the outdoor companies. It's an automatic takeover. We don't program it. The property owner has nothing to do with it. They don't operate the sign. We do. So it's an automatic thing. If the Amber Alert is issued, it's automatically, instantly put up.
That's very interesting. Good to know. Thank you very much.
Yes. Is there any other questions that I could answer?
Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor. I see in the public, the 1% revenue for community benefit beautification. What is that 1% translated to the dollar figure?
It's hard to estimate that. The sign generates around anywhere from 300 to 400,000 a year, give or take. That is what they normally do. This is going to be the third sign in operation along that corridor, so that could cannibalize itself, and it may be lower. So I can't give you an honest number. There was a number thrown out during the Planning Commission, which I was straightforward about. I said, I don't think we're going to hit that number. I think that was 25,000 annually. So I really can't estimate the dollar figure. I'm sorry.
Okay. Another question for our staff. Whatever that dollar figure is, what budget will that go into?
Yeah, so we've worked closely to have this as part of blight abatement. And so it's going to go directly to graffiti abatement, which our Parks Department will be tracking of where the graffiti abatement is done in different areas of the city and how much funding is spent. So it'll be tracked.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. And this question is for you, sir. Sorry, what was the name again?
Kevin Johnson.
Kevin Johnson. Are you the mayor of Stockton or
The
Sacramento?
other Kevin Johnson. Yeah. I can jump about this high.
Okay. So how many ads will be on that, and what's the time frame for that? I know it's a technical question, but I was curious.
So each side has one city dedicated spot. So your ad runs continuously on those city dedicated spots, and then there's 8 advertising spots. So they run around every 64 seconds. They 8 seconds apiece. They don't go any faster than 8 seconds. There's no moving advertisement. It's just a static advertisement that changes every 8 seconds. So there's no animation. It's not like a TV screen up in the sky that you'll see on some of the city streets for on-premise signs. Some of those get kind of wild sometimes, but it's just like a regular sign. It's just digital.
It's good to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Councilmember Alvarez.
Mayor, I would be remiss if I didn't bring this point up. In terms of, for our staff, thank you, Kevin Johnson. In terms of the 1% revenue for community benefit beautification, I see that a couple of these, particularly the 573 Crows Landing Road, 547 Crows Landing Road, are in District 2, if I'm not mistaken. And so if these billboards are in District 2, will the the community benefit and beautification be allocated within that area or sprinkled throughout the city?
So we do anticipate, and I know Kevin didn't speak full to estimates, but staff's anticipating between 2,000 to 3,000 per year. And what we would be doing was to ensure that 2,000 to 3,000 per year was actually allocated to the District 2 in that corridor as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions from council members? I'll now open the public hearing. Any members of the public that would like to come forward regarding item 9?
Emerson Drake again, just a little question. What happens if the sign's forced to relocate and there's no good property for it? Is the city held accountable? I mean, when we have to relocate potentially for whatever ends up the Briggsmore overpass? And if we're not responsible after the first 5 years, and that's fine, but what if there isn't any good land after that? I'm just curious, are we held accountable at all, or is that just the way it goes?
Okay, I'll ask Jessica to respond to that, please.
So at this point, we don't know if the land would be needed, but if it would, and if it would have to be relocated, the staff would work very closely with the applicant to ensure that we found an area that would be allowable for them to move their sign.
So we're not fiscally liable, that was the question.
That is correct.
Thank you. Any other public comments? I will close public comments. And any council comments at this time regarding item 9? Seeing none, we can vote on both resolutions together. Resolution approving an operating agreement between the City of Modesto and Outfront Media LLC for the installation of a digital freeway billboard on property located at 2024 West Orangeburg Avenue and authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute the agreement, and a resolution approving a conditional use permit for a digital freeway billboard located at 2024 West Orangeburg Avenue. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilmember Alvarez. Second by Councilmember Wright. And will the clerk please call the roll for item 9?
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia Brayton.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwollen.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
Mayor, may I make a comment?
Sure. Our city attorney would like to make a comment.
Just a quick comment regarding the liability related to relocation. There is, however, just pointing out that the city would be waiving the costs for the fees for the applications for the relocation. So again, not responsible for the relocation itself, but just waiving of fees in order for the permitting if it needed to be relocated after the 5 years.
Thank you for that clarification. Next is item 10, a hearing to consider, and please bear with me through this. A hearing to consider establishing City of Modesto Community Facilities District, CFD, number 2025-1, Kiernan Business Park South, number 2, to replace City of Modesto Community Facilities District, number 2012-1, Kiernan Business Park South, authorizing the levy of special taxes therein, calling a special election, and declaring the results of the March 11th, 2025 special election. So this is the time and place for the public hearing for the proposed formation of the City of Modesto Community Facilities District number 2025-1, Kiernan Business Park South number 2, to replace CFD number 2012-1, and all other matters discussed in the resolution of intention adopted on January 28, 2025. The public hearing is hereby officially opened. At this time, we will first have presentations by staff about the district. After that, we will receive comments and questions and any oral protest from any interested persons. When all comments have been received, the public hearing will be closed. I will now turn it over to the city clerk for a comment.
Yes, Mayor. Notice of the public hearing has been published in accordance with the Melrose Community Facilities Act of 1982, and proof of such publication is on file in the city clerk's office.
Thank you. Now we will have a staff presentation.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Jessica Hill, Director of Community and Economic Development. So for a little bit of history, the Melrose Community Facilities Act of 1982, enacted by California State Legislature to provide flexible funding mechanisms to local governments. So this funding mechanisms raises money through special taxes that must be approved by a 2/3 vote within the district and it's there to help finance major infrastructure improvements, as well as provide as an ongoing funding mechanism for needed maintenance. A CFD can choose to seek public financing through the sale of bonds to fund these certain public improvements and services. And then if the bonds are done, they are secured by special taxes levied by the property owners and billed on property taxes annually. So for this specific CFD, this CFD proposed is a total of 68 acres. It's bound by Dale Road, Bangs Avenue, American Avenue, and Pellendale Avenue. And as part of this, we're looking to dissolve the CFD that was established in 2012 and replace it with this new CFD, Kiernan Business Park South Number 2. So the formation of the new CFD requires the dissolution of 2012 due to the change of uses that has occurred since 2012. And so in the 2012 CFD, there's many facilities there which are no longer needed due to the change of use to multifamily, single family, the Temple, and then the Bank of Stockton. So the total boundaries of the new CFD will encompass the entire Kiernan South area and will include all 7 parcels. So for the facilities will primarily include the improvements along Bangs Avenue. And so these improvements will include the design of these improvements, roundabouts on Bruno Avenue and American Avenue, as well as environmental and traffic studies and landscaping and irrigation. As part of the services or ongoing maintenance, it will include the maintenance of the boundaries of the CFD to include the tree pruning, landscape mediums, debris and litter removal, care of the CFD trees and plants, and fire and weed control. So above is the maximum special tax rates for each of the parcels within the CFD. So the one-time facilities tax per acre is $71,000, just above $71,000, and the annual maintenance tax per acre is about $1,885. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, are there any questions from the council? Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. I noticed that one of these properties is a church. Are they exempt from paying the CFD fees?
No, they will be paying their fair share as well.
And then there's a second church on that property that's just bought the property and moving into it. Are they aware of this, the fees?
They are. We've been working directly with all of the parcel owners of the 7 parcels.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other questions from council? Seeing none, now I will open it up to the public. Are there any oral protests or comments by the public?
I'm sorry. I was just trying to save blocking time.
Yeah.
Emerson Drake again. It's real tough to read up here. It's so small. We had another one out here, but that'd be nice. But so the 2 different churches that are there, what are we charging each one, or what is each one being charged?
All right. Do you have that answer, Jessica?
I'm sorry.
Are you sure that's okay?
So all of the taxes are based on a per acre amount, and each parcel pays the same per acre amount. And so with that, I'll pull that up really quick. For the annual maintenance, it was $1,885 per acre. And then for the one-time facilities tax, it was $71,021 per acre. And so each of them will pay their appropriate fair share.
Well, I guess I don't see any marks as the size of the acreage of these facilities. I was just looking to see what we're talking about. That doesn't seem unreasonable. And secondly, there's also a Christmas tree sale farm there. Not a farm, but Christmas trees. It's not there anymore. It was there last year. I bought my tree there. So it's gone now. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So are there any
Okay. Thank you very much.
other comments by the public or oral protests? Seeing none, any comments or discussion by members of the City Council? Councilmember Escutia Brayton.
Thank you, Mayor. Jessica, did you share with Mr. Drake that there were acreage? Okay, wonderful. Thank you. I'm glad he got that information. I think this is a wonderful opportunity to the developers that are developing this area are really being thoughtful in developing a beautiful scape, a beautiful area within their development grounds. But this takes it to a different level. This partners with them to make the grounds outside of their immediate development beautiful for the whole community to enjoy. And this allows that to happen. That hasn't always been the case with the City of Modesto in terms of having that conversation with developers in the beginning stages. And as a result, there were lovely communities developed, but what was outside of their development was a wall and dirt, therefore not making it so appealing for the rest of the community. This gives us a funding mechanism to make that other area beautiful for not only those people that live in that area, but everyone in the city. So I'm delighted that the staff is having these conversations, and in this particular, that it's going to benefit and beautify District 1. Thank you.
All right, any other comments by City Council? Excuse me, Councilmember Wright.
I just want to clarify that the Christmas tree was a fundraiser that came in once a year to do their fundraising. Right. Property has been sold to another church, and so they may be having their own Christmas tree sale at Christmas time. I'm not for sure on that, but just to answer your question.
All right, before I formally close the hearing, is there any property owner subject to the proposed special tax who wishes to file a written protest? If so, they must be filed with the city clerk at this time. For the purpose of a majority protest, only written protests are to be considered. Are there any protests? All right, the public hearing is hereby closed. So now I will need a motion to adopt the resolution of formation, which I will read. A resolution declaring the formation of City of Modesto Community Facilities District Number 2025-1, Kernan Business Park South Number 2, conditionally authorizing the levy of special taxes therein. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Escutia-Brayton, seconded by Councilmember Williams. Will the clerk please call the roll for this item?
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Escutia-Brayton.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwallen.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Now I need to have a motion to adopt the resolution calling a special election. I will read the resolution. The resolution of the City Council of the City of Modesto, California, acting as the legislative body of the City of Modesto Community Facilities District Number 2025-1, Kernan Business Park South Number 2, calling for a special election. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Wright. And will the clerk please call the roll for this item?
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Escutia-Brayton.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwallen.
Aye. Carries unanimously. At this time, I hereby direct the city clerk to tabulate the ballots and announce if 2/3 of the votes cast upon the propositions are in favor.
Thank you. Mayor and council, the ballots have been tabulated and more than 2/3 are in favor of the proposition.
Thank you. Next, I need a motion. Do I have a motion to adopt the resolution declaring the results of the special election? I will read the resolution. Resolution declaring the results of March 11th, 2025, special election and approving certain related actions pertaining to the City of Modesto Community Facilities District Number 2025-1, Kernan Business Park South Number 2. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Williams and a second by Councilmember Ricky. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Escutia-Brayton. And Mayor Zwallen.
Aye. Carries unanimously. Do I have a motion introducing and waiving the first reading of an ordinance authorizing the levy of special taxes within the City of Modesto held within the City of Modesto Community Facilities District Number 2025-1, Kernan Business Park South Number 2?
Move to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Ricky. Second by Councilmember Scudia-Brayton. And will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Scudia-Brayton.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwollen.
Aye. Carries unanimously. Do I have a motion introducing and waiving the first reading of an ordinance in connection with City of Modesto Community Facilities District Number 2012-1, Kernan Business South Park, authorizing the cessation of the levy of related special taxes and the extinguishment and cancellation of all related items, all related liens, and dissolving said community facilities district. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Wright, second by Councilmember Alvarez. Will the clerk please call the roll for this item?
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Scudia-Brayton.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwollen.
Aye. Carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is new business, item 11. Consider approving the purchasing agreement for renewable diesel and bulk fuels to Hunt and Sons LLC, Sacramento, California, for a total amount not to exceed, you know what, why don't we take a 5-minute break? Thank you, 5-minute break. We will return at 7:01 p.m. Thank you. All right, we are back on item 11. Consider approving the purchasing agreement for renewable diesel and bulk fuels to Hunt and Sons LLC, Sacramento, California, for a total amount not to exceed $18,750,000 over 5 years. And we will have a staff report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Patrick Crowley, Senior Public Works Manager, and I'll be presenting for tonight for our bulk fuels. So a little bit of background is that we have several sites throughout the city that we have bulk storage tanks. One is underground, the rest of them are above ground fuel tanks. We have 54 sites in total. All of our fire stations within the city of Modesto, as well as Oakdale and Ceres, we maintain. One of our primary fuel customers is Stan RTA, the transit center. So that uses about 2/3 of the fuel that we use. We also have our wastewater sites, the primary and secondary, as well as all of our water tank sites and well sites that use it. In addition, we have just under 1,400 pieces of equipment that we fuel with these sites. And so we went out to an IFB for the contract for this to replace the existing agreement that expires. 10 companies were plan holders, 2 submitted bids, and both of those bids were local. We went to the Finance Committee, and the Finance Committee on the 24th of February approved this. We had because it was a proposal, we went through and had the thing called OPUS, is a benchmarking for fuel pricing, and it's out of the Stockton version. And what we did is evaluated the 2 bids, and they were bidding on a percentage off or above that market price for the OPUS agreement, which is basically a subsidiary of Dow Jones Company, and they do this nationwide and produce, since fuel is a commodity, it changes prices on a daily basis. And then what UBD is an unbranded fuel, so it's not like a Shell or a Chevron or that, like it's just regular fuel with no branding name on it. So most of our sites are at a 12-cent less per gallon. We have one site that's actually more. It's because it's hard to get to. It's 6 cents more, or 3 sites, I'm sorry, and they're called wet fueling. So they're difficult to get to. Instead of a gravity feed, they have to pump to those sites. Those are actually 6 cents higher. And then at the main bus maintenance facility, because it's so large and that's where we fill the transit, we actually get 20 cents a gallon off of those prices. We did an analysis of the previous 5 years. 2021 is coming out of COVID, so it's a little bit different. And as you can see that we've had an increase. The transit had gone from about 66 buses to 150. That's a big price increase. And we're running at about 3.3 million for this year. So based on that, we said, what do we need for the new contract? So part of our additional costs are the state added a 65 cent a gallon tax January 1. Throughout the rest of the year, there's the potential of an additional 85 cents per gallon. Based on our anticipated fuel costs, we are recommending, staff recommends 3.75 million a year and 18.75 million for the duration of the next 5 years. What you see in front of you now is our primary customers. Fleet is the largest one, but again, that's because we get reimbursed through the transit center or the transit system, because those buses we fuel and then get reimbursed from Stan RTA. Our utilities divisions have onboard tanks. They pay for a portion of that. Our fire department, as well as our police station. for a total of $18,750,000 for the next 5 years. So staff is recommending the resolution for approving the purchasing agreement for renewable diesel and bulk fuels with Hunt & Sons LLC Sacramento for a total not to exceed $18,750,000 over the next 5 years, and authorizing the Director of Finance or her designee to execute the agreement. And based on that, I'll answer any questions.
All right, thank you for your presentation. Any questions from council members? Council Member Scooty-Breton.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Patrick, for that report. At the committee level, I had several questions on this agenda item. One of them was if we had taken advantage of any incentives or grants for renewable diesel and bulk fuels. Did you have an opportunity to look into that?
We have not gotten any word back. Staff is still looking into it, but we don't have a word back from the Air District yet.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. So Patrick, is Hunt & Sons, you're talking about the Sacramento corporate office or headquarters? Because isn't there one still in Modesto off of 7th Street?
There's
South.
a Hunt & Sons owned facility.
Okay.
This is for our bulk fuel deliveries. They're actually out of series, but they have a local office. But this is not going to a fueling station.
Okay.
This is the big tankers coming to the city sites and delivering bulk fuel to our tanks.
Thank you for that clarification.
Vice Mayor Barbaro.
A couple quick questions. With the fleet service, that's with Stan RTA?
So Public Works Fleet Services provides the maintenance services to Stan RTA. On our campus, everything that's diesel, we fuel on their behalf, and then we invoice them on a monthly basis, and they reimburse the city for those costs.
Do we bill them also for operating costs to do that?
Yes, sir. They pay for all of our staffing, all of our power, and any of the resources that we use on that site.
Okay, and maybe you can explain this to me again. Fuel prices, diesel fluctuate, as you well know, and you're looking at several years. How do you calculate into the future? Is that using Otis?
So the program for Opus is
Opus,
that is a benchmark, and what they get is the commodity price on a daily basis of what fuel costs. So our agreement with them is a mark down or a mark up on whatever that per gallon price is. So as an example, the bus maintenance facility has two 12,000 gallon underground storage tanks. So we don't buy fuel on a daily basis, but when we do buy fuel, whatever that daily rate is, that particular site, we get 20 cents a gallon off of whatever the market price is for that day.
So how did you calculate 18 million plus over, not to exceed 18 million over the next 5 years?
So we average about 883,000 gallons a year. We took our last year's costs, and then we built in a 5.8% escalator moving forward.
Is this tied into CPI?
Yes, sir. That's the 5.8.
The 5.8 is that economic bucket within CPI?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Patrick. Just for clarification, all the fire trucks from the different cities, they get billed out for their gas also, correct?
Yes, sir. The ones that we directly pay for is the City of Modesto, Oakdale, and Ceres. Everybody else we get reimbursed for.
So Oakdale and...
So Salida, Consolidated, and Turlock, we do not provide fuel for them.
I see. Thank you.
All right, any other questions from council members? I have one. This is obviously a huge resource and massive undertaking. Do we have controls in place to make sure that the gasoline is only used, the fuel is only used for what it's intended to be used for?
Yes, ma'am. So for several of the sites, we have automated reporting. So a thing called Vanderroot is a system that calculates what vehicle took the fuel and how much fuel went into it. And then we have in our asset management system how much fuel is supposed to go in there. So like my car, I shouldn't be able to put 200 gallons in, which is a bus. So we have those checks and balances, and then every month when we get the invoices, we go through those and monitor to make sure that we are doing an ongoing audit for that. And most of the sites there are, if it's not automated like that, there's the fueling stations are under lock and key, and staff have to go out and pump for them.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from council members regarding item 11? Seeing none, I will open this item up to the public. Any members of the public that would like to speak regarding this item? Seeing none, I will close public comments. Council comments? Any? Seeing none, I have a resolution approving the purchasing agreement for renewable diesel and bulk fuels to Hunt & Sons LLC, Sacramento, California, for a total amount not to exceed $18,750,000 over 5 years, and authorizing the Director of Finance or her designee to execute the agreement. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Ricky. And will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia Brayton.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwollen.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Are there any matters too late for the agenda? Seeing none, I'm calling this meeting of the City Council be adjourned.